to my channel. If you're new, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and click the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Yeah, the new subbies, subscribe and be part of the Yummy fam, because why not? Anyway, so today I have the mail again and we're going to be talking about people's dilemmas and try to find solutions for them. And he's back here because apparently he gives really good advice. So yeah, so we're really hoping that we can go through your dilemmas. I've asked questions on my Instagram and you guys sent them through, so I'm just going to be reading them off on here, old school, and then hopefully we'll get to answer and give people what they want, you know. So the first, oh hi. The reason why obviously I'm not taking note of you is because the last time you didn't want to be introduced, but his name is Lungelo. Lungelo, sit up. His name is Lungelo.
It rocks, man.
It what?
It rocks.
Okay. His name is Lungelo, and Lungelo is going to be answering your questions. I'll come in there and there if needed, okay? Cool. So the first dilemma is that there's a lady who's been vibing with a guy for quite some time, and when they started, the guy had a girlfriend. So the girl really enjoyed the fact that this guy had a girlfriend, because what her intention was just for other benefits beyond the emotional. She was not about the emotional side of things. So now the guy broke up with the girlfriend, and now she feels as though the guy is almost like catching feelings, and she's really not feeling it because she's like, what the hell, like I'm not here for this guy catching feelings because I'm not into him like that. So she wants to know how she can maneuver the situation so that it benefits her in a way that she won't have to deal with the emotional side of things and still get the sex that she wants.
Jesus.
So yeah.
Tell him. Yeah, just tell him exactly how you feel and how things are. And don't be oblivious to the fact that when he had a girlfriend, he probably was obviously getting emotional support from there. And then the reason why he was then with you on the side, as you call it, was that he could then basically, you know, get everything else from you. But then when he broke up with her, he didn't have someone to kind of shift that responsibility with. Then you became that person, or she became. Yeah, so tell him exactly how you feel, tell him how you want things to happen. And then I would say just don't entertain it. Tell him, like, look, if you're gonna keep doing this and I'm telling you not to do it, I'm gonna leave. But then when you do say that and he does it, you need to leave. You can't keep coming back, because then what happens is he then says, oh well, you'll talk about this and then you say you're gonna leave and then you're just gonna come back and then you'll do it again. So yeah.
I see. This is how guys manipulate the situation. So basically, if you say what you say, mean it, and never come back, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, the second dilemma is that there's a lady who gained a lot of weight, right? And she feels as though she has always been confident, but now people won't stop pointing out the fact that she's gained weight. And in a judgmental society, she feels as though them pointing out the fact that she's gained weight is killing her confidence, right? So she basically wants to know, how can she maintain her confidence in a very judgmental society?
It's the same question as yesterday. Well, if she was really truly confident, then nothing would really faze her.
Okay.
And it comes back to what I was saying yesterday as well, that you have to know that there will be people out there that are always going to be throwing jabs. Always going to be doing that. So for you to be shocked at that happening, or to let that get to you, is really almost close to a naive mentality. So you know that there's snakes out there, you know that there's people that are bad out there. For you to go out there in the world and think that the world owes you to be owes being nice to you or owes any respect to you is beyond kind of naive and cocky, you know. So you need to understand that the world doesn't owe you anything, and that they're probably going to bash you for things that they're going to bash you. But then there's two alternatives: you can either crumble or you can just use it to your own benefit. So again, it's almost like bullying, you know. Someone bullies you only if you allow them to bully you. You know, if you stamp your authority, then no one will bully you.
Okay.
You know, so yeah. So I'd say in that sense again, also focus on the things that make you confident. So if losing weight makes you confident, then lose weight. But then again, it's normally deeper than that. You know, it's that analogy that I was telling you yesterday about a burst water pipe. You know, sometimes the problem is not the water that's coming into the house. Maybe the problem is sometimes the water pipe, or even not that. Maybe the pressure of the water coming from the water stations or the water plants. You know, so you don't want to stop the problem at the beginning. Sometimes you want to go to the site so that it never happens again. Because you can stop the water coming in, but then that pipe's gonna burst next week. So again, it's like, if you're looking at it as just as, oh no, I'm going to fix my body, maybe it's a psychological issue that you're going through. Maybe you don't have confidence in general. So then work on the things that make you confident, because your body's always going to fluctuate. That'll always chop and change. So now every time that chops and changes, you're always going to have a reaction to people saying stuff to you. So, yeah.
I think we also touched on the next dilemma yesterday, but maybe you can just wrap it up in a summary. Because this person said they're struggling with the concept of fitting in, just in general. How can she do it? She wants to fit in society.
Stand out, bro.
There's actually a cliche
why are you born
quote.
to fit in yeah.
That
Why?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be to fit in when you're born to stand out?
Exactly.
I think again, I think it's a deeper problem than that. A lot of people want to fit into certain societies to fill a certain void within themselves. So you want to fit into a particular group because you want to feel welcomed. But then again, it's like that group then can decide not to welcome you. And then does that mean again, are you going to crumble?
Yeah.
Or are you going to then just make yourself stronger? Because you find that the strongest people are the ones that are able to live within themselves. And then they attract other people. So even in a friendship circle, you'll find that the strongest person is the person that can be around themselves, and then the rest of the group always wants to be with them because they find strength in that person, and he doesn't, or they don't mind being alone. So then if you sort yourself out and you sort out all your impurities and all your negativity and you make yourself strong, then the world doesn't, you don't have to fit in the world. The world says, oh, you know what, we want someone like that to actually be with us, and they'll come for you.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is someone who's with the manipulative partner, and she wants to know why is it that
It's all females.
majority.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean that's the people that follow me. Yeah, so she's with a manipulative partner, and she wants to know why is it that guys won't just leave, and why is it that he has to get to that point all the time. And at that point, like, how can she empower herself?
This is all a theme. Again, man, look, so it's not just... these questions can also... They relate to everything. They can relate to a boss at work. A boss at work, if they're getting the best out of you for peanuts, they're not going to want you to leave. So they're manipulating you, but then they're getting the best out of the situation. So that's not a gender kind of... question, or whatever it is. A company can sponsor you, right, and then give you peanuts, but they know that, oh, but you need this fame or you need this fortune from us, so how are you going to manipulate that? And that's a group of people that are manipulating you. So I think again it goes back to the fact that if you focus on yourself and you find strength within yourself, right, and that strength is not necessarily something that's like, I'm strong, like I can actually conquer the world. It's more of a thing of, look, the world is dangerous. The world is out there to get you. The world is out there to absolutely cripple you. So are people, right? So know that. Don't be oblivious to that. But what the strength comes from is the fact that you can actually then conquer the world. So it's what I was telling you now about, like, if you have problems, like everyone has problems, those problems never go away, right? Those problems are always there, and maybe they're supposed to be there to make you stronger. But what you can do is that as soon as you wake up and you see, oh, you know what, I have this rent money due, or I have this car loan to pay, or whatever happened, like whatever my problems are, they're still there, you know? So there's two choices that you can make. You can either crumble or you can actually face them, right? And the best way to do that is to understand that any problem that you're in can actually get worse. You know, even if it's a death. You know, people say, oh, you know what, my...
Come closer. Yeah.
So, yeah, so people can say sometimes, like, look, I'm going through a bad time. You know, there's a death in the family, so this is bad. It's like, it can get worse, you know, and it's like, how can it get worse? And it's like, well, you can have 2 deaths. You can have 3 deaths. You can have someone that doesn't die, but they're crippled. You can have someone that doesn't die, but they have cancer. They have leukemia. They have all sorts of things. They can be a death and a fight that's happening during the funeral. So you're like, actually, you know what? When I think about it, any situation that I can be in can get worse, and don't be oblivious to that. You know, you can fail at school and think that, oh my gosh, I want to commit suicide. It's like, look, it can get worse, bro. You can fail in school and you can lose your family, or you can lose your father, you can lose your mother, you can lose more than what you think is going on. So you can be in a bad situation, in a bad spot, and think, man, I'm never getting out of this. And it's like, well, it can get worse. So what are you going to do? Are you going to make it better, or are you going to let it get worse? And that's where you kind of find resilience and strength. So,
The next question is very related to the previous one, because it's a scenario of a girl who met a guy in February, and they were out with a friend, and then they exchanged numbers, and then she went for a meet with him, and then they became friends, right? And then along the way, what ended up happening is that they ended up sleeping together. Yeah? And then from there was a question of what now. And she is very fond of the guy, but I guess the guy is not as much as into the situation as she is. So obviously he's probably manipulating the situation for his best interest as well. Yeah, so now I guess she's in a conflicted space of, like, she's going beyond and above in her own meaning of what that is for this guy. But she's really stuck with the idea of, what is this? So how can she maneuver that situation so that it benefits her or brings her the most positive outcome?
It's 5 of the same questions.
People are back go in relationships, so I think...
Yeah, but again, I know for sure. And it's not just relationships. Like I say again, these things happen at work, these things happen in life, they happen everywhere. And I think, again, it's like, you need to empower your own self. Because manipulators are always going to be there. And manipulators only manipulate people that can be manipulated. So if you strengthen yourself, and by strengthening yourself, again, it's to say that you understand that the world is there. You understand that pain is there, right? And pain is, you're going to feel pain. What you're doing is that you're understanding that what I'm doing now is painful. But then so is the alternative. So which road is going to be better off? And then you understand that, actually, I can actually go through that road. And that's where you kind of find your strength. So
what must she do?
So in that sense, again, it's like, well, look, you can stay with him, and then he can manipulate you even more. And the situation that you're in now can get worse tomorrow. And it can get worse next month. And then in 2 months' time, you're actually in a worse sort of situation than you are the day that it started, or today, right? But what you normally do is that you say, oh no, it's going to get better. And then it doesn't, it gets worse. Oh no, it's going to get better. No, it gets worse, right? It's not just going to get better. You have to address it. Listen, this is how things are going to be, and this is how I want them to be. You have to have that little bit of grit in you. You have to have the little bit of fight in you to tell someone, look, I'm done with this. You know, I know that I'm a nice person, but people take advantage of nice people all the time. You know, so you tell him, listen, bro, like, I'm not about this. Or if it's a guy to a girl, you tell him, look, I'm not about this. This is where the road ends. And you become assertive and you lay down your rules. And then as soon as you do that, you tell him, listen, the alternative is that if you don't follow these rules, I go.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he even has a sniff of not following the rules, you go. And then it's painful as well. But then again, like I said, the alternative is worse.
Yeah.
And the alternative is, oh no, well, let me sit and wait for it to get better. And it never gets better. So, yeah.
Spot on. Okay. The next dilemma is that the lady again, and she wants to know, how can she get into a relationship? She's looking for a partner, and the only issue is that she said that she's unemployed and has nothing.
It's a similar theme, right? I know that this all sounds cliche, but now it does. But it's a similar theme in the sense of, don't look, fix yourself. So I'll go back to the job thing again. If you are having tough time at a job, right, the reason why you're enduring that tough time is because you don't think that you can get a better job, or you don't think that there's a better job other than this. And that's not really even the problem. The problem sometimes is the fact that you know that you don't have the skill set, or you know that there's not another job that can accept you other than this, and you know that you haven't gone to specific courses, or you haven't done this specific exam, or you haven't done this. You know that, right? You haven't had the specific experience, right? So all of that is a ticket to say, okay, well, now I have my CV, right? And I don't like looking at my CV because it shows me all the things that I'm missing, right? So all the things that I'm missing, I'm trying to run away from, but then by running away from them, I go back into this job. So what I can do is take my CV out and say to myself, okay, you know what? This is not great. How can I make it better? And you formulate a plan. I need to go to this course. I need to go to that course. I need to do this. I need to do that. Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is not looking at your CV and going, I'm being in this job forever, right? So it's the same with looking for a relationship. Is that, okay, I'm going to keep looking, but I have these faults that I haven't fixed. I know that I haven't got the strength. I know that I'm easily manipulated. I know that I'm not strong enough. I know that I don't have a job. I know that I don't have stability. So what's going to happen is you're going to find someone that's going to say, let me manipulate that, right? And as soon as you do that, then you go into a job with no, or person with no or stability or anything like that, and that person takes advantage of you. And then you find that that's actually worse than being single. So, again, look at the things that you don't have, fix those things. Once those things get fixed, you get job offers. And then you can then say to those job offers, no, I know my worth. So you want to fix those things that you don't want to look at, and try every day, whatever it is that you have to do. Maybe you have to go back to school. Maybe you have to do a course. Maybe you have to go look for work. Maybe you have to volunteer. You start where you need to start, But then again, it's something that then you close off something in your mind. You're closing off something that you've completed. And you can tick that box, tick this box, tick that box. And then once you've done all of that, then someone says, oh, you know what? This girl is driven. Or this guy is driven. I actually want to be with them. Then someone says to you, you know what, actually, yeah, can I be your girlfriend? Or can I be your boyfriend? Then you're like, but why now? And it's because you focused on yourself. And then once you focus on yourself, you then know your worth. And you say, no, I wouldn't accept that job. Or, yeah, actually, I would accept that job.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is from a guy.
Ooh, wow.
Surprise. And he calls it the issue adultism. Never heard of the word. But it's where he says he's got a problem with wanting old BBW ladies. Ne? To a point that he can't stop wanting them, and he feels as though it's a problem. So he wants to either stop or reduce having this intense attraction, or whatever you call it, for people who are big and old. So he wants you to please help him.
Wants me to help him. I'm not here to help him, but I can give some advice on that.
Maybe I can help him.
Maybe. I think it's to find out again why he wants that, why he likes that. And if it's an addiction, it's how you normally treat all addictions. So if you feel as though that you always want to drink, and you always want to do you always want to do drugs, or you always want to watch pornography, and you feel as though it's controlling your life, which is why it's an addiction, right? Then you formulate a plan and you say to yourself, well, look, on the one, what we said yesterday, on the one side you have everything that you know that if you keep doing this, this is the road that you will lead to. So in 2 years' time, if you keep going down this path, something bad might happen, and you can list them down, whatever it is. So like you do with an addiction, if I drink alcohol a lot, what's going to happen is that I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my kids, I'm going to lose my friends, I'm not going to have money, I'll be in a ditch somewhere, probably be in hospital, whatever it is. You have something to run away from. So like again, what he's saying is that if you like old women, it's not a problem, right, to like anything. But then if it's an addiction, it controls your life, then it can become a problem. So with any addiction, then you say, well, if I keep doing this, I won't find a mate, I won't try to settle down, I won't have a regular job, I'll always be dependent on someone. And then that'll spiral down even worse. I won't be married if you do want to get married. I won't, my social structures will be skewed up because I won't be able to bring my goals around my friends, all sorts of things. And then you say, okay, well, that's the alternative to run away from. And then you have on the other side is something that you can say that, oh, you know what if I then stop doing this? What if I stop being addicted? Well, maybe then I can actually apply for another job because I'll be at work most of the time because I won't be drunk and making excuses, or I will be able to say apply for a better position. I'll be able to look for a school. I'll be able to concentrate at school. I'll be able to formulate good relationships that are empowering to me because not all my friends are going to be friends that are drinking or friends that are going to be negative. I'll be in a better situation in 2 years' time. So going back to this guy's issue, he might say, well, I'll be able to be around my friends. I'll be able to have normal conversations or age-appropriate conversations that I have. I'll be able to be a bit more confident. I'll be able to be more independent. I'll be able to look for a job. I'll be able to pay for rent by myself. I'll be able to have strength. I'll formulate good relationships at home, and that's where you want to run towards. So you've got something that you can run away from, something that you can run towards, and then you say, well, okay, cool, now what? And then the now what is, well then, let me set myself a goal for the week, for example, or set myself a goal for 2 weeks, right? And you look at yourself and you say, well, what do I enjoy? What can I do? Can I maybe not call someone for 2 weeks or for a week? Or maybe for a day. Maybe let me not be with someone for a day. Maybe that's as much as you can take. And then you say, tick, yeah, I've done it for 1 day. Cool, I can do that. Then you say, okay, well, tomorrow let's try a day and a half or 2 days. And then from 1 day, 2 days, you might have increased 5%, but it's better than you were. And the better than you were is that 0 or negative.
Right.
So then from there it's 2 days. And then again, you go from there, you say, well, can I try 4 days? And then it's absolutely terrible, but then you go through and you're like, man, I've done 4 days out of 7 and I've never done this. And you've increased only 20%. But again, it's 20% that you don't have, that you didn't have. And then from that 20%, you keep moving. And then you find out, oh, you know what? I haven't drank in 2 weeks, or I haven't drank in 3 weeks. Or I haven't done drugs in 3 weeks. I haven't watched porn in 3 weeks. I haven't needed the urge to be with someone in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I've actually made progress. And again, the line will go up, but then it will fluctuate. You'll find that, oh, I relapsed. And it's like, okay, cool. Don't look at it like that. Look at it maybe in a space of 3 months or 4 months. And then you can say, well, if I look at the curve, it doesn't go straight up. It goes like this, but it's improved from here to there. And I think that's the best thing to deal with it. And you can actually take medication for it as well.
Okay. And then the next one is a lady who says that there's a boy who she's been flirting with, right? And it seems like they had made out. And she told him that she has a crush on him, but the guy won't make a move. Why?
Lots of reasons.
Right, you're going to give her potential reasons.
Yeah.
So that she can deduce from her experience with him as to what it might be. So
a lot of guys like to chase, right? That comes from a lot of personality traits, things which I won't get into, but a lot of guys like the thrill of the chase, right? They don't like to be courted. They like to feel dominant, right? And chasing is part of the dominance, right? So generally a lot of guys are either fearful when someone then chases them. That could be an option, right? The second option might be the fact that maybe he just doesn't want to be with you like that. That's the harsh reality of it. There's, like I said, there's multiple options, and the only way to kind of really understand is to ask him.
Yeah.
Like, don't, again, I think with a lot of girls always have relationship issues like this. I think because they're not explicit enough and they're not assertive enough, whereas men are. You know, a man will be like, listen, bro, like, I'm only doing this, cool, let's leave it at that. And then as soon as you deviate, they're gone. That's why you find that when you cheat on a guy, besides the fact that he's very fragile, right? It's also the fact that because he's so assertive, he has to let you go. So a lot of men will just say, you know what, I can't deal with it, and they're gone. And that's again, a trait that a lot of men have, is that assertiveness. And women are very forgiving, you know, which is probably why you guys can take care of kids. You know, a kid cries all the time and you guys still kind of want to nurture and take care of it. Whereas for a guy, it's like, man, I don't want to be part of this. And then they disappear. You know, that's why guys don't really stick into problems as much as what females do. You know, we don't have that. We have an assertive nature and a runaway type nature. You know, there's a lot, like I said, it's a personality type, psychological thing. But it's just the way it is. It's one of the fundamental differences between guys and girls. So be assertive. It's the same reason why men at the workplace are more dominant, because we are assertive. You know, we men are very much like, look, I'm not going to take this job offer. This is not what I want. Whereas women are like, well, you know what, I want to make sure, I just want the best for everything. And it's like, maybe that's not a good thing. You know, and again, these are extremes. Like, being too assertive is also bad, but being too nice is also bad. So it's to always try to find the middle ground. You know, so yeah.
Okay, cool. So this one was a bit on the somber, deep end type of vibe. So it's someone who feels that they're at a point where they're drained and they're ready to give up on life. They have a kid and they feel like the sole purpose of their life has become about the toddler and just to serve the kids, right?
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
So she's sleep deprived. She's being told that she's dead weight, and the issues just keep on piling up, you know.
It can get worse.
And I mean, she's not even getting now negative about the situation, and she feels like she's always at a point where she's always trying to make other people feel happy at her own expense, you know. But I guess, as you said, it could get worse. Like, what do you choose, you know? But I mean, I think people who are in situations like that like knowing the practicality of how do I get myself out of that. It's nice to say that, you know, choose what route you want to go to, because it could get worse. But as a person, if you put yourself in their shoes, it's like, okay, I'm here now. I'm not the most positive person ever. And there's other factors that maybe are also very medical, because when you're at that point, you're probably almost depressed as well. Like,
that's where depression starts, yeah.
Yeah, where's the practicality of solving that problem?
So what's her actual issue?
That
she just feels
she's just
down in the dumps.
you know, and that her sole purpose of life is just about the kids. Yeah.
So before I answer that, there's also this thing also with men and women have there's big differences, right? As much as there's small differences that make a big difference, and then there's a lot of small differences. So men and women, when we grow up, from like the age of 0 to 20, we're pretty much all the same. So I don't know, I keep saying this, but so from 0 to 20 we're all the same, and then between 20 to kind of 35, then you kind of need to make serious decisions as a woman, right? Because that's also where you need to decide if you want to have a child or not, right? And a child obviously is a big decision, and you carry a child for 9 months, but you also then, you know, nurture them for their whole life, right? And again, because there's a lot of hormonal changes, you can't really change that, right? But then at the same time, you want to say, oh, but then I want to be in a high-end career. And then again, in a high-end career, you need to study for the first 20 years, the first of your 20s, and then you kind of then boost and you jump into corporate worlds, into medicine, whatever it is, in your 30s. But then in your 30s, you make that decision of, do I want to keep now, or do I want to be the CEO of this company?
Mm.
And if you're the CEO of that company, you know that you're not going to have time for your kids, right? So then you kind of say, oh, okay, well, let me then not aim too high with the work, but then still be at home. Then for men, it's like, we don't have to have those issues. We can literally work forever, you know, which is what we do. So we don't have the issues of bearing kids and becoming fathers and things like that. We can just kind of choose, no, I'm not going to do that. Cool, let me move on and fight. What?
Trash.
It's not trash though.
No, it is.
It's not.
Deadbeat fathers are not trash.
I just said deadbeat, man. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the fact that we are not born like that. So genetics is kind to us in that sense, right? Which has nothing to do with the social structures of the world, right? So in our 20s, we can work flat out and then be the CEO and then keep working. Whereas with women, they get to 30 and they say, well, no, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I want to actually take care of my kids. Family is more important. And then men can choose that. So men can say, you know what, I actually want to start a family, right? But then there's a lot of men that don't choose that. And then it's like, okay, cool, but I don't choose that. And then they keep going. But with the woman, it's like, well, when I get to 30 and I'm a lawyer and I'm working 80 hours a week, it's like, man, something's got to give. I can't be at home and I can't be at work at the same time. So then I get a nanny, but then I'm not a full-time mother. And then those mothers really, really have to work hard, you know? And they're working against men that have nothing else to do but to work. See, so what happens then is that you get to a situation where you feel like, so that's also one of the reasons why you need to really think about the structure of your life when you're a woman. It's very easy to say, oh, I want kids. And it's like, yeah, but what about the job? What about a career? Do you want a high-end career? Because if you're going to have a high-end career and have a kid, you're going to be in serious trouble later. Or do you want a high-end career and not have kids? And if that's the case and it's cool, then go out there and fight. And there's a lot of women that do that. There's a lot of female CEOs that do that, you know, but then they can't be super moms, right? So again, it's like men can choose their struggle, right? We can literally say, no, look, I want to be a lawyer and that's what I want to be the rest of my life, or I want to be in government and that's what I want to be in the rest of my life, and work 100 hours a week. So that's also part of the gender pay gap. But anyway, so yeah, so you get into situations like this, and then you get to 30 and then you say, oh, you know what, now the whole world is against me, right? Or you feel as though the world is against you, right? And then you say that, okay, well, now what's the problem? And again, we go back to what I was saying, that the alternative can be worse. So you can be depressed, right? And then you can have a child and you feel like you don't want this child, and you feel like the world is not kind to you, and you feel that the world is the worst place on the planet for you, right? And then boom, you get anxiety. Then you're like, flip, actually yesterday I thought this was bad, but today it's even worse. Then boom, you get sick. Then you can't be with your child. Now you're detached from your child and you're detached from the world. So again, that strength comes from that. It comes from the fact that you understand that it can get worse. You understand that the best possible place that you can be in at that moment is what you're in now. So then the alternative, again, like I said, is something worse. So then you deal and you set your life on course. You start with the small things. You change what you can change. You change what makes a positive impact slowly. You know, so even if you are depressed, for example, right, you find something that you can fight towards. You find something that you're able to live for, right? And you know that it can get worse, so you don't want that to get worse. So you find something to live for. You get up in the morning. You go and you write something down, for example. You look for something that you really enjoy that's going to give you a boost just for that day. And that's similar to how also you treat like an addiction, where then you say, well, I'm going to fight for this thing, and now I've achieved something. It's better off than I was yesterday. And then tomorrow you say, okay, well, let me do that for 2 hours. And you do it for 2 hours. You're better off than you were yesterday. And it's also positive. And then the negative things, as they pile up, it's fine, because you know that you're doing more positive things, right? And then the more you do that, the more you then program yourself to then move forward. And you find that in a situation, again, when you look at it after like 3 or 4 months, that I was in the dumps, but man, I actually made it, bro. You know, and I made it slowly but surely. I didn't crumble. But you didn't crumble because you knew that it can get worse. You understood that it could get worse. You know, because a lot of people tell you, be strong. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to be strong, but then tomorrow and I wake up I'm anxious. Let me give up. And it's like, give up now, you're going to probably give up tomorrow as well. Because tomorrow you're going to find something else that's going to hit you. You have financial debt and you feel like, whoa, that's just crazy. So deal with what you can deal with. Look at where you don't want to look at. Fix the things that you can fix, all those small things. And then you will be able to, find strength within yourself.
All right. And then the last question is, what do you do when your own mother is embarrassed to go out with you to her friends because you're fat? These are real life issues, man.
I know. And this is the thing as well. You see how even issues like this, right? They show other people that, man, my life's actually not that bad. You know what I mean? Like you think that maybe your mom is shouting at you every morning, man, I hate life. Then someone says, man, you think that's bad? My mom doesn't want to go out with me in public. And then someone else says, man, you think that's bad? I don't even have a mother. So then it shines that light on you to say, maybe I'm just ungrateful. But because, again, you've zoomed in and you lived into your own world, you think that you are the worst that can happen. Right?
But I mean, in that situation, it is the worst for you.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So it's the worst situation that you can be in at that moment. But then don't think that tomorrow can't be worse. Right? It's not just going to get better. So, yeah, coming back to that, sometimes you get terrible mothers, man. Sometimes you get terrible parents. And it's quite rare, but you do get it. And I think, yeah, in a situation like that, you address what you can address. If you can either leave it and then your mom still does it, or you can address it with your mom, or address it with the necessary people in your family. And if you can't, then don't worry about it. Look out for yourself. So strengthen yourself so that you don't have to be someone that's going to be sensitive to the fact that your mom doesn't want to let you out. And it's not easy. That's the thing. That I don't want to make it seem like it's something that's going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to just leave it. Cool, and I'm just going to dress whatever I want to dress and go out and chill. Because your mom's fundamental to your growth.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficult. But the alternative is worse. You can go to your mom and then she says, you know what, don't talk to me. And you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? And then you fall into a slump and a slump and a slump and a slump. But the alternative is, oh, you know what, I've got suicide to look forward to.
Okay, but what must you do, Lumelo? Because
there's a lot of things.
I'm hearing the alternatives, but give her the practicality of, at that moment,
strengthen yourself. Look for things that you can do that's going to make you feel positive every day. Then you run away from the things that are going to make you feel negative every day. So, yeah, what else can you do in that situation? You can address your mom, like I said. You can address your family and explain to them how you feel, and explain to them that this is how you felt and this is how it is. Maybe your mom is also going through some stuff. Then maybe you guys can go through it together. But maybe that's not going to be as easy as it's going to be. But then you can go there and then that can backfire. Then it's like, okay, cool, well, what else? Suicide? Not really. Cool, then what can I do? Find something that I like and I like to enjoy, so that me going out with my mother is not actually going to be one of my biggest issues.
Yeah.
And then you strengthen yourself through that. So, yeah.
Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk once again. Please subscribe to my channel at Oyama Porter. Thank you very much.